We are working on a tree silhouettes project. Remember, a silhouette is pretty much just like, it's almost like a shadow, right? So it's a solid shape of a singular color, which is usually black, which is what we'll be using. And the edges match the outline of the subject. So you can tell what it is, even though there are no details and there's no color, you can still tell exactly what it is, right? We also talked about foreground, midground, or middle ground, and background. So remembering that if it's darker and it's bigger, it's going to look like it is closer, and that's going to be your foreground. The midground, middle ground is going to be kind of your medium shapes or your medium size, and then kind of that medium color as well. And then your background is going to be the smallest objects, and it's going to be the lightest colors. Okay, so just so you're aware of those things moving into the project. I showed you these examples. These are photographs. So these are real tree silhouettes that you might see. One of them is kind of looks like a sunset, kind of like those purpley blues, which is really pretty. And then the other ones are more of maybe sunrises, which are those yellows and pinks and reds and oranges that are really nice. And again, you can pick what you want your tree to look like. It could have leaves on it, but those leaves would still be black because it would be a silhouette. Or it could be a bare tree, like a winter tree, or it could be a pine tree. It's totally up to you what you want it to look like. You could even do more than one tree if you really wanted to. Again, here are some examples from last year. So you'll see that the tree's colored in with crayon, the background kind of is colored in with crayon, and then the actual sky is going to be watercolor. And again, we talked about if you didn't want to do the sky as watercolor, you totally don't have to, but it is an option. All right, here's another one. Again, the tree is black with the silhouette. It has a foreground, which is the tree. The background is the mountains, and then the overlapping also can show the background where the sun is going down in the back here. And then I won't really explain the rest of these. You can kind of see the things that are in the foreground, middle ground, background. Tree is a silhouette. You can pick a theme. This one is Halloween themed. You can decide where it is in the world. So I'm on my iPad. I talked about Autodesk Sketchbook before. It's going to be, I'm clicking on it right now. It's this orange app. It says Sketchbook and it has a little pencil on it. If you don't have this, if you go into self-service, it should be one of the first ones because it goes alphabetically. So Autodesk would be after Apple. So it should be right there. So from here, I'm not going to talk a bunch about the different tools on the side. You can see right now on the left side, I'm going over all the tools. You can decide what tool you want to use. There's a pencil, there's a pen, there are paint brushes, different things you can use, and you can kind of experiment with that as you work today. I like this one, the 1, 2, 3, fourth one down. It's a pen. Personally, that's my favorite one. And then over on this thing over here, you can pick the different colors. So I'm going to start with the tree, which is going to be my silhouette. So I'm going to change my color today to black. And then if you tap on the tool, you can make the size bigger or smaller depending on what you want it to be. So I'm going to make mine pretty big so I can start with the trunk. And I'm just going to use my finger, very basic. Again, this is just like a sketch and a plan. It doesn't need to be your final one. Our final project is going to be done on paper. But right now, I just want to start thinking about what I want it to look like so that I don't have to do so many versions on pieces of paper. And this is easier to erase and start over, right? So I'm just doing my tree branches. Now, another way to do this, instead of coloring it all in, is if I did something like this, and I'm just adding branches, there is a paint bucket tool. You have to make sure all of your lines are completely closed before you use this, but at the top, I'm moving it right now. At the very top of the screen, there's this little paint bucket. And if I click on that and I choose a color and click on my tree, it will turn all black because I filled it in with the paint bucket. But I want you to notice what happens. I'm going to quickly use the eraser here so you can see what it looks like. If I leave like a little spot open like that on accident and I tried to use the bucket tool, it's going to turn my whole project black or the color that you're trying to use because it's filling the entire thing. So you need to make sure anything that you're trying to fill is closed completely. So I'm going to go back, close it, go back, and fill it in. All right, now you can actually use different layers on this app, which is awesome. So I need to move this little guy. And if I click this plus sign on the right-hand side, it will give me another little white box, which is going to be another layer. And you will notice that if I hold this box down, I can now move it all the way to the bottom. I can move it to the top. So if it's on top like this, and I take my pen, and let's do a different color so you can really see. Maybe I'll do green for grass. And I was trying to do it this way, and I drew, it's going to go on top of my tree because it's on top over here on the layers, okay? If you want the grass to go behind, this layer needs to move to the bottom. So all I do is take my finger, press down on it and hold, and then I bring it to the bottom, and now it goes to the back. From there, I can keep going. I could do my sky. So maybe I want it to be like a sunset. So again, I'm on this bottom layer now. Let's say I want to do the sunset in chunks. So I'm going to draw my line here. I'm going to go up the side. I'm going to go here and then down to the bottom. Make sure that it's completely closed. All right. And then at the very top, you'll click on the paint bucket, and then whatever color you're using, it will use. And then you just click inside that box and it will fill it in completely. I click on the paint bucket tool, and the second one in is the gradient tool. Now, if I click on that and just push down, it will go all the way from white all the way to black. Now you can move this little middle button to make it either more dark or more light. And I can like completely get rid of the white here, or I completely get rid of the black here and make it a softer gradient. It's up to you. And then to change the color, you're going to click on the right-hand side on this little circle, and then you can go around and kind of play around with what color you want it to be. So this little like, it's like a little spiral kind of white tool. It's right below the last paintbrush. If you take that, you can change the size. The flow is going to be like how hard it blends. There's also some like paintbrushes on the bottom that do some smudging. So I would say I would definitely experiment with the app and kind of try out all the tools and decide what you like the best. But there definitely are different ways to blend. So I would say like the blending tool would be an important one to experiment with, and then working on layers too. So making sure that you have a back layer and a front layer, and then you can add more details too. So I could even add another layer on here. So now I have 3, and I could go in and I could do like more details.